So, I finally decided to do one of these. I've been wanting to make something like this for a while now, but I've never really had the inspiration. That is, until now. I've probably watched this show at least 3 or 4 times before making this video, which is saying something as it only came out a few days ago as I'm filming this. So, Our Flag Means Death. If you haven't watched the show, I recommend going to do that now. It's currently on HBO Max, and this video does include a lot of spoilers, so this is your warning. Our Flag Means Death centers around Stede Bonnet, an aristocrat who decides to leave his family and riches behind to become the one, the only, gentleman pirate. And everything changes when he meets the legendary Blackbeard. When I first heard about the show, it was about 1 a.m. while I was scrolling on Instagram a few months ago. I saw that one of my favorite directors was producing and acting in an upcoming comedy about pirates. I was generally excited, of course it's a Taika Waititi project, but I compartmentalized it and eventually forgot that it was even happening. A few days ago, I happened to be scrolling on Instagram again, when I happened to see that the series had dropped, so out of curiosity I watched it. The humor and character dynamics immediately hooked me. The first 4 episodes are spent developing Stede as a character, establishing who he is and the tone of the show, but it also starts building the image of Blackbeard. We hear his name in passing, but we're first introduced to him as a concept when Black Pete, a member of Stede's crew, tells a story about him to the rest of the crew. He speaks about how terrifying and bloodthirsty he is, even claiming he has glowing eyes and smoke for a beard. So, when we as an audience finally hear that Blackbeard is interested in meeting Stede, there's a general fear of what'll happen, which makes what does happen even better. From episode 5 onwards, the focus of the show shifts slightly. It maintains Stede as its main character, but it also adds Blackbeard, also known as Edward Teach, to the dynamic, changing the tone and overall direction of the show. Suddenly, there's this beautiful focus on Edward and Stede, learning from each other, growing from each other, and supporting each other. The first scene where I feared queerbait was right at the end of episode 5, where Stede and Edward have a moment.
May I? There we go. Look at that. You wear fine things well.
I've experienced too many instances of queerbaiting to believe that it's anything more than that. But those sort of interactions continued, leading to one of the most heartfelt and romantic scenes I've ever had the pleasure of watching.
So I reckon what makes Ed happy is you.
Well, that's... You make Stede happy.
I'm not going to lie, I shed a tear or two. The joy I felt was something so overwhelming I didn't know what to do with myself. The show gave me so much joy as a trans queer man and an audience member. Taika Waititi and Rhys Darby give an incredible performance and have great chemistry. The relationship they present feels so genuine, and the separation between Stede and Edward in the finale isn't forced, but naturally played out, and the reaction of both men is extremely in character. Stede Bonnet and Edward Teach are intriguing characters by themselves too. Stede being plagued by his delicate and innocent nature and striving towards adventure nevertheless. Edward, who is bored of the success he's found as Blackbeard on the sea and struggling with being vulnerable to others. I love the way these characters are developed as individuals. At the beginning of this season, Stede is unsure of himself, doubting his decision to become a pirate and constantly haunted by his childhood as well as his choice to abandon his family. In the finale, there's a shift in his character. He still has the same quirks, but it's clear he's changed. From the way he actually listens to his wife and the realization that he needs to make amends for all his mistakes. A subtle reflection of this is how, when he first left to become a pirate, he sold a few acres of his land so he could have money on his trips, while when he leaves for the sea in the finale, he takes none of his riches, leaving them all for his family. Blackbeard's introduction is especially interesting. It's clear he keeps a facade as Blackbeard, and something great about the way his character is written is the separation of Edward Teach and Blackbeard. Blackbeard is uncaring, bloodthirsty, and ruthless, but Edward is passionate, kind, and fragile. He struggles with trusting people, but that changes when he meets Steed. He still carries a certain authority with him, but the more time he spends with Steed, the more of Edward the audience sees, which is especially disheartening when we see the opposite happen in the finale. When Edward believes that Steed has abandoned him, he reverts back into the facade of Blackbeard. Enacting cruelty onto others is a way to deflect from the pain he feels from what in his mind was a rejection from his first love. Okay, let's talk about the thing everyone is talking about, the representation. In total, there are 3 relationships in the spotlight, and they're all queer, which is already a great feat, but factor in that there's an openly non-binary character, several people of color, as well as good polyamorous representation, and this show is more than a dream come true for most people, including me. Representation is slowly becoming more common in the media we consume, but the way the show does it is unlike most other shows I've watched, if not all. The first thing you'll notice is that none of the characters are defined by their identity. What I mean by this is none of the characters or plot revolves around a certain character being gay or struggling with issues surrounding their identity. While stories like those are important, it's so incredibly refreshing to see characters just be people. Let's use an example here. Jim, played by Vico Ortiz, is a great character. They're the usual aloof badass with great fighting skills that just happens to use they-them pronouns. Their arc in Season 1 revolves around them trying to get revenge on the group of outlaws that murdered their family, as well as their relationship to another member of Steed's crew, Aluande. See, Jim is respected. There's never a moment in the show where you think otherwise. And there's never a moment where people doubt their skills because of their identity.
They just started talking.
Yeah, but Jim's the kind of person where if they stabbed me, I'd be like, yeah, probably deserved it.
Oh, I would love to be stabbed by Jim.
In fact, this is the case with all the characters. No one is belittled or doubted because they're different. All the problems and challenges each character faces is based on trauma or mistakes they've made. Each character is judged purely on who they are as people and their actions, instead of whether they enjoy kissing a guy or happen to have dark skin. To end it all off, I just want to thank everyone on the Our Flag Means Death team. The fact you decided to tell us such an incredibly entertaining and beautiful story and not be scared to have diverse characters and relationships is something that I'm incredibly happy about. I can't wait for Season 2. Thanks everyone for watching. This was my first time making a video like this, so tell me if you liked it. I might make some other Our Flag Means Death content in the future, or some other video essay type of videos, but again, it all depends on how much time I have. So, be sure to subscribe, and have a great day.
When water wine shine, he does turn to wine. Find out that you're the Lord, oh God, lead us forward. Please enter praise for substantial days. 3 hoorays for our Lord Christ, for he who he does us in ties.